Hey everybody, welcome to our weekly Wednesday Wisdom Live show here on Facebook. My name is Marty Forrest. My website is Hello Extraordinary Life. Check out the website. On the landing page, click the button, 3 steps to reprogramming your negative self-talk. Hi Sally. I haven't seen you in a while. How are you? Check out the landing page, and if I can get to my website, on my Facebook page, I'll put the link in there, but right now I'm on something else because I wanted to talk about today post-traumatic stress and tools to deal with that. So I have a couple things pulled up because I wanted to be able to actually address what is it really for us. So if you go to the website, Hello Extraordinary Life, on the landing page, 3 steps to reprogramming your negative self-talk. It's an amazing document that my friend redesigned for me. It's like 17 pages now instead of a 4-page PDF packed full of stuff. So it's really pretty and I'm very proud of it. And I'm excited that people get to see the difference. I got to tweak it after a couple of years and update it a little bit. I also offer a 6-week course called, I changed it. I did it for 6 weeks for a long time. So it's 7 weeks now. And it's that journey. It's the journey into loving yourself from the inside out. And it is, hi Charlie, and it's about going inside, shining a light on the inside, taking that flashlight, and I help you shine the light inside to gather some understanding about what's happening in your world and why we respond or react to life the way that we do today. Much of it is based, or most of it's based on our childhood and what happened to us, which leads right into PTS. I call it PTS. I was talking one day to, I think he was a Vietnam veteran, and he called it PTS. And I pondered that. And he said, it's not a disorder. And I thought, wow, I just loved that. It's a post-traumatic stress that whether we've been in a war, we're on the front lines as a police officer, firefighter, we've all had some kind of stress, some kind of post-traumatic stress. Post is after the fact. Trauma is, this is what I pulled up because I wanted to actually give you definitions of what trauma is. It's an emotional response to an event like an accident, sexual violation, natural disasters. Psychological traumas are types of damage to the mind that occurs as a result of a distressing event, which is probably what applies to a lot of us since we've not been on the front lines. It's the result of an overwhelming amount of stress. Of course, my phone. Every time I'm on this live call, that's what happens. I don't know how to turn the phone off when I'm on live I have to get a camera. That's what I have to do. Okay, there's the answer. Get a camera separate from my phone. Trauma is often the result of an overwhelming amount of stress that exceeds one's ability to cope or integrate emotions involved with that experience. Trauma happens to all of us in some form or fashion. Then we talk about stress. What is stress exactly? I looked up, what is stress? Body's reaction to any change that it requires an adjustment or response. We have acute stress, things happen right now, somebody slams on their brake in front of you, you hit the brake, stress. Body releases all these hormones. Okay, then we have chronic stress. And this is where post-traumatic stress comes in. Becomes a chronic stressor on us. And our body reacts to stress by releasing hormones. These hormones make our brain more alert, cause the muscles to tense, increase our pulse. In the short term, they're good. But in the long term, they can cause us all kinds of physical issues, spiritual issues. They can just cause all kinds of things that left undealt with or unhealed create all kinds of things in our world and reactions to our life that probably are no longer effective. As when we're children, hi Stacy, when we're children and life happens to us, as it does, something happens, a wound gets created, some trauma, maybe it was somebody getting yelled at, and maybe it wasn't you. Maybe it was you. Somewhere in there, we create a response or reaction to that causes stress in our body. often creates the wound, which is a trauma. It could be someone leaving. It could be a divorce. It could be physical abuse. There's all kinds of things that create trauma, traumatic events that get stored in our tissue. Often the trauma is things that we keep reliving. That would, like the accident. If you keep dreaming about you had an accident. I had an accident many, many years ago. I can't remember, 93. And I hit a puddle and hydroplaned, and I was hit broadside. 55 miles an hour. Very severe accident. And today I can drive in the rain and not be white-knuckled on the steering wheel. But it took a long time. It took a long time to get through that trauma that I had very little memory of. It took years because the accident. Traumas get trapped in our body, in the tissue, whether we have a memory or not. That thing, I didn't have a memory specifically of the accident, but I knew it was raining. I knew I hit a puddle. I remember hydroplaning, and that's all. Now, today, I can actually get in the car, drive in the rain, and not be panicked. I still have a flutter, though, when I hit a puddle. Oh, I forgot about it. So I'm talking about it. It's still, there's still some emotion charge around it that I could have died. And that's what PTS is. There's this fear, this deep terror, this something that creates a place of unsafe, and whatever it is, whether it's abandonment, somebody yelled at us, physical abuse, sexual abuse, seeing something happen, maybe to someone else, can create a traumatic response in our bodies. We've all experienced this in some way. And I know each of you. So I know a little bit of stories sometimes about what's happened in our world. And then this is what I get to coach people with. We get to shine a flashlight, take a flashlight, shine it in there and look at possibly what's happened, but maybe it's not about what happened as much as it is about our reaction to it. Because what happens currently is we react to an old situation, and it's a different event or a different person that touches. They poked the wound or touched the wound, whether they realize it or not. Most of them don't. We all do this. It was described to me one time, and I got a real great visual of, we walk around, I have a shopping cart full of all my wounds and all my baggage and all the stuff. And then I meet you, and you have all your baggage and all your stuff in your shopping cart. And now we're trying to meet through these shopping carts of our baggage and our wounds. And then we keep triggering that stuff for ourselves through the other person or events. So just like without driving in the rain, there's still points in my driving that I'll feel that trigger. Now I can walk through it a whole lot different than I used to. I used to wouldn't even drive in it. I'd let somebody else drive. So creating new synapses in the brain, like redirecting the pattern, is one way to do that. But usually we have to know something about what's triggering us, what's not working, and then take a look at what do we want to do different. If my husband yells at me and I react in a way of either fighting back, or I shut down, or I walk away. Some of it's self-preservation, but often it's a way to protect myself, to protect that wound that got touched, that happened so long ago. Mine were, I was humiliated, or I was made to feel stupid, or I was criticized. Whatever that is, when that wound gets touched today and I feel like I did then, I'm reacting to then because I haven't healed that wound. So this person's here as a gift. Yes, they're a gift to us. These people that touch our wounds, they're our gift because they offer us the time to live in the present, and the present of, oh, that's still there. And it's my opportunity and it's your opportunity to take a look. Oh, I've been aware of this maybe. Maybe I haven't been aware of it. Most of us are. If you're here and you're listening to me, you've been here some time, you know that most of us are aware of some of those wounds. Maybe not all of them, but we know we get triggered. And these people in our lives that trigger those wounds, whether we like it or not, I don't like it. I personally don't like it. Rarely do I like it, but I'm very grateful because now I have that opportunity to look at it and to decide, who is this person for me? This is one of the ways to do this. When my husband, he spoke to me one time, I don't even know what the situation was now, but the voice, the tone, the feeling was my dad. It triggered dad like that. Because he sounded, felt, and he didn't look the same, but he sounded and felt the same. Tone of voice, everything. I shut down. That was my reaction. I stopped talking to him. So that happens when I was a kid. What helped me through that, recognizing that happened when I was a kid. He triggered my dad response, my dad wound. And he never means to hurt me. If we know the people in our life, especially the ones that trigger us, they're not intentionally trying to hurt us. And remembering that, who are they for us? If it's your partner, they're rarely, if you have the partner love of your life, they're rarely trying to hurt us. If you have good friends, they're not trying to hurt us. And they don't even know sometimes how they've triggered us. So it's important to not take it out on them. Make them pay for something that wasn't healed. And remember, they're in the same boat. We all walk around with these wounds. And we're doing the best we can at any moment in time. So remembering, my husband, your wife, your whatever, your friend, they're not out to hurt us. Some people are just assholes. Let's just be clear about that. Some people just are that. They're still a gift for us. And when I can remember that he loves me and he is not trying to hurt me, and we had a moment because I triggered something for him. So when we can remember that, I've triggered something for him, which caused a reaction to me to see the dance. And now we're both in this reaction from something that's long ago, nothing to do with today. Now we get to clean that up. We get to talk about it and come back and say, well, here's some ways to handle how the current situation. Here's how that landed for me. And here's what happened inside of me. And often my husband just looked at me that particular time and said, wow, I had no idea. I would never want to hurt you. I thought, yes, I understand that. So those are the ways that we can heal those deeper wounds. We don't forget. Sometimes we do forget. Sometimes we don't have any memory of those things that happened when we were children. That's how powerful our mind is, that we just put it all in that unconscious place. And when we start looking at, how is it coming out today? Am I who I want to be in my life today? Or am I still trying to protect that wound that happened so long ago? And there's many. There's not just one thing that happened and now we walk around with that one wound. There's many things that happen. There's many moments in our life that happen. And staying present, being in the present, right? They're giving us a gift of the present and remembering that that is then, how do I want to be with it now? And when I know it's the child that was wounded and I get touched today, there's another tool for you, is to get in touch with that little one, the child that lives in you, and ask them, what do you need from me right now? How can I help you feel safe right now? We get to become our own parent. Because if we have all these kind of wounds that get triggered, it's because our parenting was not the best. And it might be helpful to remember that your parents have their own. They have their own trauma too. My parents aren't interested in dealing with it, and that's okay. That's okay today. It wasn't always. I wanted to, I'm doing the work, everyone else should be doing it too, but that's not the case. I'm doing the work here. I'm healing my wounds. You're here listening to me healing your wounds. We're doing that so that we can stop the cycle, break the pattern. When we break the pattern, whether we ever see it or know it, we start to heal the generations before and after us, because it stops here with us. So ask your little one. Connect with your little one in the morning when you wake up. If you had a nickname when you were a child that you actually liked, not one that embarrassed you or made you feel small or bad, or maybe you give yourself a new nickname. And when you wake up in the morning, check in with the little one. Hey, how you doing today? Just make the connection. That's how you begin that relationship and begin walking together. So those wounds begin to they become more open when we begin to acknowledge them, because we're taking the scab off so that they can be healed. And the only way to heal them that I have learned and experienced is to look. Even if I don't have a memory, I know the behavior and I know the feeling. I had someone one time say, I don't have any memories of my childhood. And I've met many that don't. So even if you don't have some memory that, like, there's this moment in time that happened, you know what the behaviors are and you know what the feelings are. And you can begin now to create that relationship with that little one that lives inside of you. For me, that's where the healing began. I found a workbook. I have it in here. I found a workbook that I started in 1995. I thought, wow, what does 2000, so long time, 24 years ago, right after I got sober. I started this book and I was reading through it and I thought, wow, I'd forgotten some of the things that I wrote down at that time. So this journey of healing, it began there. It began when I started recognizing that there's this little child inside of me that's walking around wounded. And we react in situations in a much more childish manner than childlike. When we begin to heal those, we begin to learn how to play and have a different kind of fun, because we're not afraid of being hurt again. So those are the trauma that happened a long time ago that creates stress in our body today, because our body it's like a blueprint, right? It's just stored all these memories of our life, this life, ancestral trauma. It's a whole other conversation I'll talk about one day. If you deal today and begin taking care of that little one and asking them what they need, how can I help you feel safe? 2 simple questions. Sometimes they need a hug. Sometimes they want a cookie. Sometimes they want to color. Sometimes they want to dance. Go for a walk. Listen. They will tell you, always. They will tell you what they need. And then take the action behind it. And then watch your life change. Because you feel like you're cared for and you feel like you can take care of yourself. And we're not always looking outside of ourselves for those that touch those wounds to make us feel okay. I did that for most of my life. I have a really great forgetter, though. Sometimes I forget. So when I found the journal that I had written, or the book, the workbook, so long ago, it's a reminder of where I was at in 1995 and how fresh it was, those wounds, and how big they felt and how scary they felt. And it's just not. They're just not. I can't say it's been fun going through it, but it's been worth it. So if you'll take those moments, and I can promise you will not have more than you can deal with, ever. Some people say God will not give us more than we can deal with. Our minds won't let us take more than we can deal with. It just will not, because there's only going to be able to deal with certain things at a time. So little bits, little micro steps at a time if you have to. Those are some of the ways to start to deal with the traumas that happened when we were little. Those traumas that keep us stuck or keep us from moving forward or keep us immobilized. I found myself fairly recently, last year, my husband was going through some stuff, and I had to really be aware of remaining present in my relationship and not close him out. My friend brought that up, and I said, you know, I didn't disconnect from him, but he had to disconnect from the issue. But my normal way of dealing with that is I just systematically begin to shut down. I shut down my heart and I close down me till I ultimately leave the relationship. It's been my way of doing it for my whole life until now. And I thought, I was very conscious of that because I've been doing this a while. Just being present to this, we're separate people. And he has this thing to deal with and I have mine. And I'm married to him and I'm not leaving here, right? So I'm going to stay and I'm going to figure out how to make it work. Which meant that I got to stop doing what I've always done and stay present and see it as a gift. When really everything in me sometimes wanted to run away and I didn't think it would ever end. And then it did because I held that space. So when we stop running, we can hold a space for someone else because we begin to heal and then we give them a space to heal. So sometimes we can't see that. We can't see how I wanted to make it different for him and I wanted to do it for him or I wanted to tell him how to do it. And the only thing I could do, and I was reminded again and again and again, is do my own. Do my own. Be the example for him. Love him through it. And that's all we can do for anyone. That's it. That's all we can do for any person in our life. They come to us and ask for help, that's one thing. But I can't try to give them something they're not ready for and they don't want. And neither can you. So just keep doing your own part. And they just start either to come around. Some people go away. That's life. But in our relationship, our primary relationships, we just become that example. We shine brighter in the world. And we give permission for others to do the same. So I hope that was valuable. Anybody have any questions? Anybody have any comments? Something that resonated for you? Something that works for you? No comments. All right, my lovelies. Make it a great day. And I will be here next week. Sometimes I might do a bonus. I did a bonus one a couple days ago when I realized, from last week, what did I do? Avoiding burnout. I didn't realize how much in the burnout space I was in. Holy smokes. Yeah. So once I recognized it, I did another video to share that. Like real time. Here's real time for me. I do this work all the time and here's real time for me. I didn't realize how much I was in that space of I'm overwhelmed and I feel tired and I'm approaching burnout. So being able to recognize it and being able to share it with you all. I did a 107.5 or something. So being able to share it with you, that was incredibly helpful. So find that one. It's on the page too. And I will talk to you all next week. Make it great.